Hi, submarine friends. Well, I'm faced with a dilemma now that I have to resolve, and that is, do I continue working full speed ahead on my diesel electric submarine, or do I stop and put my efforts into my deep worker submarine right behind me here? So that submarine behind me, the deep worker, I have dove it. I rebuilt it and turned it into a pretty nice to operate submarine. But since then, I've undertook some modifications to make it safer. For instance, the passenger in the back seat cannot surface the submarine if the pilot was incapacitated some way. So if I had a heart attack, my passenger wouldn't be able to surface the submarine. So I've made some changes there. So now the passenger can surface the sub, and also the chassis on the submarine. Originally, this submarine was two deep workers that they put together to make one dual deep worker, and so parts of the submarine are already there to make it so the chassis can drop off in an emergency. So I took it a step further and I made it so that the chassis can drop off, but that is not finished. So that needs to be finished. I also did some work with the life support system, giving it an external oxygen supply. And I did a bunch of electronic changes, putting the bulk of the electronics into the battery pod to reduce the risk of smoke. So if I had an electrical fire, smoke is a real problem, obviously. But now the bulk of the electronics are in the battery pod. So anyways, all these things have to be finished up. So if I finish that and I spend a bunch of time on that, it takes away from this submarine, which means it may not see the water as early as I hope. But if I work on the diesel submarine and not the deep worker, then I will miss this season of diving with the deep worker. So it's a bit of a dilemma for me. So I'm leaning towards continuing to work on the diesel submarine and just leave this deep worker for another year and work on it next winter, which is probably the way that I'll go, but I have to give it some more thought. I'm really enjoying working on the diesel submarine, and I see having a lot of fun with it because it can go out in any weather. So the deep worker submarine here, you're quite limited. It has to be nice weather. So, you plan a trip to, say, the Okanagan from here, which would take me 6 hours to get there. And you get there and the weather's bad, and so you can't take the sub out because of the surface support. So this submarine here doesn't matter. It can go out in anything, blizzards, big waves, doesn't make any difference. So that submarine has more use, but this submarine can go deeper. So I'll probably keep moving forward with the diesel sub. Also, the diesel submarine is really good for exploration work with the side scan sonar. So we could take that submarine out in any weather, look for some targets that we're looking for, and then wait for good weather to take this sub if it's too deep for the diesel sub. So there's a lot of things to consider here in what I'm going to do this summer. And the springtime is the best season to dive for the best visibility, which is ideal for this deep worker sub. So I would be missing that. It's a tough decision for me. My wife is very logical, so she will help me with this. Anyways, that's what's going on in my head right now. I should be working on this submarine today, but I'm having a day off. Actually, I'm going ice fishing tomorrow as well. We've been really, I've been quite busy with it, so I need to take a little bit of time to have some fun ice fishing and stuff. Anyways, ciao.